Friends, just imagine a soldier who risks his life for his country, destroys enemies without fear. But what does he get in return? The brutal murder of his pregnant wife. And after that, the soldier sets out on a deadly path of revenge, a path from which returning alive seems almost impossible. The movie's name is Without Remorse. Hello friends, I'm Sam, and you're watching Know the Story Global. Before we begin the video, I have a small request. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. The story begins in the city of Aleppo, Syria, a place burning in the flames of war. At that time, Aleppo was trapped in the middle of a brutal civil war. On one side was the government of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, and on the other were multiple rebel groups fighting against the regime. Because of this, the U.S. government had deployed several American soldiers, Navy SEALs, and CIA agents throughout Syria. During this time, one CIA officer had been kidnapped and taken hostage by Assad's men. To rescue that officer, a special U.S. Navy SEAL team was sent on a dangerous mission. The operation was being coordinated by CIA agent Robert Ritter, while the team itself was led by a highly trained soldier, John Kelly. Before the mission begins, Kelly and his team sit down with Ritter to carefully plan the entire attack. The plan was simple: silently enter the building, rescue the hostage, and escape without attracting too much attention. Under the cover of darkness, Kelly and his team arrive near the enemy compound. First, Kelly and one of his teammates quietly hide inside a swimming pool beneath the building. Moments later, a Syrian guard walks near the pool to wash his hands, completely unaware that death is waiting right beside him. The moment the guard bends down, Kelly suddenly grabs him and drags him underwater. Within seconds, the guard is dead. After that, the entire team silently enters the building and eliminates the guards outside one by one. Now, the next phase of the operation begins, clearing the building floor by floor. The team slowly moves upward through the structure, but the moment they reach the upper floors, they realize the rebels were already waiting for them. Heavy gunfire erupts instantly, but against highly trained Navy SEALs, the rebels don't stand a chance for very long. Kelly and his team quickly eliminate them all. Finally, after breaking open a locked room, they discovered the kidnapped CIA officer inside. The rebels inside the room attempt to attack them as well, but Kelly's team takes them down immediately. At last, everything seems under control. But then, Kelly checks the phone of one of the dead soldiers, and the information he discovers shocks everyone. Those men were not Syrian rebels, they were Russians. This revelation shocks Kelly deeply, because during the mission briefing, Ritter had never once mentioned the involvement of Russians. When Kelly questions Ritter about it, Ritter doesn't seem to care much. For him, they were simply enemies, whether Syrian or Russian didn't matter. Just as the team is about to leave the building with the rescued hostage, more rebels suddenly attack them. Heavy gunfire erupts everywhere, and in the middle of the chaos, a massive explosion shakes the entire building. The blast is so powerful that part of the structure collapses, trapping some of Kelly's teammates beneath huge chunks of concrete. Kelly himself is badly injured, but somehow he manages to pull himself back up. One of his teammates is already dead. Then, from beneath the rubble, Kelly hears the voice of his friend, Greer. Without wasting a second, Kelly rushes toward the collapsed debris and struggles desperately to pull Greer out. Together, the two somehow manage to escape the building alive. The mission costs the life of one soldier, but the rest of the team successfully rescues the hostage. The story then jumps forward by 3 months. Kelly is now back home after taking leave from the Syria mission. He is starting to think about leaving the military. because the life of a Navy SEAL is extremely dangerous, and now a new responsibility is about to enter his life. His wife Pam is pregnant, and within a few days, Kelly is going to become a father. That's why Kelly wants to spend more time with his family. But meanwhile, something far more dangerous has already begun. One by one, members of Kelly's special operations team start getting attacked. First, one soldier is brutally run over and killed outside his own house. Then another team member is shot dead while driving on the road. And now, the next target is John Kelly himself. That night, Kelly and his wife are not sleeping in the same room. Kelly is downstairs listening to music with headphones on, when suddenly the entire house loses power. In reality, the attackers have secretly entered the house and switched off the main power supply. Then they quietly move upstairs toward the bedroom where Pam is sleeping peacefully. And without even hesitating for a second, they open fire on her. Pam dies instantly. For those attackers, killing someone is nothing more than routine work. Downstairs, when Kelly hears strange noises coming from above, he instantly realizes that someone has broken into the house. Grabbing his pistol and flashlight, he slowly starts climbing the stairs.
The moment one attacker appears in front of him, Kelly immediately shoots him dead. Hearing the gunfire, another attacker rushes towards him, but he also fails to escape Kelly's bullets. However, as Kelly moves toward Pam's room, a third attacker suddenly ambushes him. Kelly shoots him too, but during the fight, Kelly himself is hit by multiple bullets. Both of them collapse onto the floor, severely wounded. And then, the attacker removes his mask. In the light of Kelly's flashlight, he sees the truth. The man is Russian. At that moment, Kelly finally understands everything. The Russians killed during the Syria mission. This attack is revenge for them. During the intense gunfight, there comes a moment when the attackers run out of bullets. Realizing they can no longer continue the fight, they quickly flee the scene to save their own lives. On the other hand, Kelly's condition has become extremely critical. After being shot multiple times, he collapses onto the floor, but even then, he refuses to give up. Dragging himself painfully across the ground, he slowly moves toward Pam's room. And the moment Kelly somehow reaches the bed, his heart completely shatters. Seeing his pregnant wife Pam lying there in such a horrific condition breaks him from the inside. He screams in pain. All his anger, helplessness, and grief explode out at once, and moments later, he loses consciousness right there. The next morning, when the CIA learns about the attack, Kelly is immediately shifted to a hospital. Soon after, an emergency meeting is called. During the meeting, CIA agent Ritter informs everyone that 3 members of the special operations team involved in Syria have been attacked. Because of this, the CIA and FBI have now placed the remaining team members under heavy security protection. But Kelly's friend and teammate, Greer, is furious. He believes that Kelly and the team suffered because of the CIA's negligence, especially Ritter's mistakes. After the meeting, Greer immediately goes to the hospital to meet Kelly.
The moment Kelly regains consciousness, his very first question is, "Did you find anything about those men?" Greer tells him that the attackers still haven't been fully identified. But Kelly is absolutely certain about one thing: they were Russians. Now he only wants one thing: their names, especially the name of the man who escaped alive that night. Kelly makes it clear, the moment he learns that name, he will personally begin hunting them down, because now this is no longer just a mission, it's revenge for the murder of his wife. But at that moment, Greer is unable to help him. A few days later, Kelly slowly begins recovering. Meanwhile, U.S. Defense Secretary Clay arrives to meet Greer and calls him into a meeting with Ritter. During the meeting, Ritter reveals a shocking update. According to the CIA investigation, the men behind the attack on Kelly were connected to Russia's intelligence agency, the FSB. And the biggest twist of all, among the Russians killed during the Syria mission was Yuri Zelin, the son of a powerful FSB chief, meaning the entire attack was a revenge operation. Ritter also explains that the CIA does not want to push the investigation any further, because if the matter escalates, it could lead to a war between the United States and Russia. The moment Greer hears this, his anger explodes. For him, it's impossible to accept that after committing such horrific crimes, the killers could simply walk free. Right after the meeting, Greer secretly visits Kelly at the hospital once again. This time, he hands Kelly a classified file. Inside the file are the names of the 3 attackers, but the identity of the 4th man, the one who escaped, is still missing. Kelly also discovers that a Russian diplomat named Andrei Vasilyev had personally issued passports for the attackers, which means if they can reach Vasilyev, they might find a direct path to the FSB itself. The CIA may have decided to step back, but Kelly is not stopping anymore. He has made his decision. No matter what happens, I will get my revenge. After being discharged from the hospital, Kelly returns home. Every corner of the house reminds him of Pam, and the pain becomes so overwhelming that he almost loses control over his emotions. But after some time, he gathers himself and makes a decision. He prepares himself and heads straight toward the Russian embassy. After arriving outside the embassy, Kelly pretends to be drunk and deliberately crashes into Vasilyev's car. The moment the vehicle stops, Kelly quickly pours gasoline over the vehicle and sets it on fire. The flames spread rapidly, but without fear, Kelly opens the burning car door and climbs inside. The moment he gets in, he stares directly at Vasilyev and asks, "Who was the 4th man?" But instead of answering, Vasilyev mocks him, "You're still alive?" The moment Kelly hears that, his rage explodes beyond control. Without hesitation, he shoots Vasilyev in the leg, then grabs him by the collar and growls, "If you don't give me the name, I'll kill you right here." Screaming in pain, Vasilyev finally breaks and reveals the name, Viktor Rykov. The second Kelly hears the name, he wastes no time. He shoots Vasilyev dead instantly. By then, the police have already arrived at the scene.
Exactly according to his plan, Kelly steps out of the burning vehicle, raises his hands, and surrenders himself peacefully. But that very same day, another massive incident shakes the country. The classified file regarding the Russian attack on the special unit is leaked to the media, and the moment the news becomes public, chaos erupts across America. Agent Ritter quickly realizes that the leak was most likely done by Kelly's friend Greer. But when Ritter demands answers from him, the U.S. Defense Secretary says something completely unexpected. According to him, if the Russians had the courage to attack American soldiers, then they deserved a response in return. And perhaps the job that government agencies couldn't do, Kelly could. A little later, Greer visits Kelly in jail. Kelly tells him that he now knows the identity of the 4th attacker, but he will only reveal the name if the U.S. Defense Secretary personally gets him out of jail and brings him in for a meeting. Kelly also reveals that he intentionally called the police and planned his own arrest from the beginning. After hearing everything, Greer quietly leaves. Sometime later, Kelly is transferred into a separate prison cell. After a while, a police officer arrives and orders Kelly to stand up because he's being moved to another cell. But Kelly completely ignores him. The officer eventually walks away. That's when Kelly wraps a bedsheet around his hands, then turns on the sink and pours water all over his clothes to make them slippery. He even spreads water across the floor to make the ground slick. A few moments later, 3 heavily armed SWAT officers enter his cell, and then an intense fight begins. Kelly's combat training is so deadly that even all 3 officers together can't overpower him. He brutally takes down 2 of them and grabs the 3rd officer hostage.
When the rest of the SWAT team tries to enter the cell, Kelly threatens the SWAT. "If anyone else comes inside, I'll snap his neck." The SWAT team is forced to stop outside. Just then, U.S. Marshal Kevin Townsend arrives at the scene. Through the small window of the cell, the marshal hands Kelly a mobile phone. On the other side of the call is Greer. Greer tells Kelly to cooperate with the marshal because arrangements for his release have already been made. After leaving the prison, Kelly is taken to a secret meeting where Greer, CIA Director Dillard, and Agent Ritter are all waiting. During the meeting, Kelly reveals the name of the man who escaped during the attack, Viktor Rykov. The moment everyone hears the name, they are shocked, because according to CIA records, Viktor Rykov had supposedly died years ago. But when Kelly identifies Rykov from a series of photographs shown on the screen, everyone realizes the terrifying truth. He is alive, and most likely back in Russia. That's when a decision is made. A secret operation will be launched in Russia to capture Viktor Rykov. Greer is assigned to lead the mission. At first, Greer doesn't want Kelly involved because his mental condition is unstable. But Kelly insists that he is ready to sacrifice his life for this mission. Eventually, even the defense secretary approves his involvement. On the day of the mission, the entire team boards a passenger plane and heads toward Russia. Everyone is disguised as civilians, so nobody suspects they are American soldiers. But the moment the plane enters Russian airspace, a Russian fighter jet suddenly approaches them. The pilot immediately demands identification. The plane's pilot calmly gives the airline's name and explains that they have permission to fly over Russian territory. But using advanced surveillance technology, the Russian pilot scans the aircraft and realizes that armed Americans are inside. He immediately orders them to land at a Russian airbase, threatening to shoot the plane down if they refuse. Before anyone can react further, the fighter jet launches a missile directly at them. The missile slams into the aircraft, causing a massive explosion. One of the engines tears apart, and the plane rapidly begins crashing toward the ocean. The pilot warns everyone that a crash landing is unavoidable. Moments later, the aircraft crashes violently into the sea. Miraculously, everyone survives, but seawater immediately starts flooding the plane. The team quickly escapes outside into the ocean. However, Kelly suddenly dives back into the sinking aircraft because inside the plane is a Zodiac boat, a special inflatable craft they need in order to reach the shore. Without hesitation, Kelly dives underwater and re-enters the wrecked aircraft. He quickly gathers the essential supplies and pulls out the Zodiac boat. The aircraft slowly sinks deeper and deeper into the ocean, but somehow Kelly manages to escape just in time. Using the boat, the team finally reach the shore safely. After resting briefly on land, they move toward a location where Ritter has been waiting for them. At this point, Kelly begins to suspect Ritter. Because Ritter chose not to board the plane with them at the last moment, Kelly begins to suspect that Ritter may have informed the Russian Air Force about the mission. Consumed by anger, Kelly slams Ritter against a wall. Seeing several Russians standing beside Ritter only increases Kelly's suspicion even more. But Ritter explains that after believing the team had died in the crash, he hired those Russians with money in order to continue the mission. Kelly becomes so furious that he fires a bullet right beside Ritter's head into the wall. Eventually, Greer steps in and calms Kelly down. Soon after, Ritter manages to track down Viktor Rykov's location. The team immediately heads toward the building where Rykov is hiding. The moment they enter the building, Kelly locks the corridor door behind him because he wants to deal with Rykov alone. As soon as Kelly enters deeper inside, he hears Rykov's voice. Rykov calmly says, "Welcome to my home." Then he reveals something shocking. He too once worked for the CIA, and in reality, both of them are merely pawns in a much larger chess game. Kelly notices a small bomb in Rykov's hand. Before Kelly can react, Rykov says that everything he's doing is justified, and in the very next second, the bomb explodes. A massive blast shakes the entire building. Kelly's team breaks through the door and rushes inside to pull him out, but suddenly, one of their teammates is shot by a hidden sniper. Everyone instantly realizes that snipers are positioned nearby. Using a mirror, Kelly identifies one sniper's location, and the team immediately opens fire in that direction. But then another sniper suddenly starts shooting from a different angle. Now it becomes clear, this entire mission was a trap. Police forces also begin to arrive outside the building, but the snipers shoot them down too. That's when Kelly and Greer finally understand the bigger truth. Someone powerful is trying to start a war between America and Russia. Because if an American team were killed on Russian soil, it could easily trigger a full-scale war.
But Kelly and Greer refuse to let that happen. Now escaping the area as quickly as possible becomes absolutely critical. That's when Kelly tells the others that he will go to the rooftop and engage the Russians so the rest of the team can escape. His plan is simple: keep the enemy distracted long enough for Greer and the others to get away safely. Greer knows this is basically a suicide mission. He desperately tries to stop Kelly, but Kelly calmly tells him, "Back in America, I'm already facing murder charges. If I return, I'll spend the rest of my life in prison. So if I have to die anyway, I'd rather die fighting like a soldier." After hearing this, Greer reluctantly agrees. The rest of the team quickly prepares to escape. Meanwhile, Kelly reaches the rooftop and immediately begins firing at the Russians below. The Russians return fire instantly. Because of Kelly's relentless attack, the Russians focus all their attention on him. Using this opportunity, Greer and the rest of the team escape from the building. After some time, the Russians slowly begin surrounding the rooftop and try to corner Kelly. Taking cover, Kelly continues fighting fiercely and shoots down several Russian soldiers. But during the battle, Kelly himself is hit by multiple bullets. As he attempts to move downstairs, he encounters more Russian soldiers in close combat. Using all of his military training, Kelly takes them all down, one by one. Then he throws gas grenades toward the soldiers waiting below. Right after that, he jumps across to a nearby rooftop and crashes down through another building. Even inside the building, more Russians attack him, but Kelly eliminates every single one of them.
Finally, Kelly pulls out a bomb from his bag and throws it toward the police forces. A massive explosion tears through the area, filling everything with smoke and debris. Using the chaos as cover, Kelly disguises himself by wearing the uniform and mask of a dead Russian police officer. Then he quietly climbs into a Russian police van and escapes from the scene unnoticed. After some time, Kelly finally reaches his team with the stolen van. He is severely injured and barely able to stand. Just then, his friend Greer arrives, pulls him out of the vehicle, and rushes him for treatment. Even Ritter helps save Kelly's life. Somehow, Kelly survives the night. The next morning, Kelly and the rest of the team escape Russia by sea using a small boat. While traveling across the ocean, Kelly tells Ritter that at first he believed Viktor Rykov was the mastermind behind everything. But now he understands the truth. Rykov was merely a pawn, just like Kelly himself. And once Kelly returns to America, he will simply be sent back to prison again. That's when Ritter reveals a new plan. He explains that there is a bag full of money hidden on the boat. Kelly will be given a completely new identity, and the media will officially announce that Kelly has died. By keeping Kelly hidden from the world, they may finally be able to uncover the real mastermind behind the conspiracy. Kelly likes the plan and even thanks Ritter. At that moment, he realizes that his earlier suspicions about Ritter were wrong. After returning to America, Kelly secretly meets U.S. Defense Secretary Clay. But because Kelly is officially declared dead, the meeting takes place secretly inside the restroom of a public bar. Clay is shocked to see Kelly alive because he also believed Kelly had died in Russia. Kelly explains to him that someone is secretly trying to start a war between America and Russia. But Clay refuses to believe it. According to him, no CIA officer would take a massive risk. That's when Kelly reveals another important detail. He tells Clay that the classified file leaked to the media had actually been intentionally passed through Greer by someone inside the government. Surprisingly, Clay does not seem shocked at all, because he himself was the one who gave that file to Greer. And at that exact moment, Kelly's suspicions are finally confirmed. In the very next second, Kelly attacks Clay and knocks him unconscious. Then Kelly ties Clay up inside a vehicle and drives toward a bridge. Now everything becomes clear. Secretary Clay was the true mastermind behind the entire conspiracy. Kelly demands to know why he did all of this. At first, Clay refuses to answer, but when Kelly threatens to harm his family, Clay finally reveals the truth. His plan was to increase hatred and tension between America and Russia. Clay believed that if America wanted to remain a global superpower, then war was necessary. And for that goal, he used Kelly's family and his teammates as sacrifices. Hearing this makes Kelly explode with rage. He looks at Clay and says, "What was my wife's fault?" But Clay has no answer. In the next moment, Kelly drives the car straight through the bridge railing and into the river below. The vehicle begins sinking underwater. Terrified, Clay begs Kelly to save him. Kelly tells him to say Pam's name. Desperately, Clay keeps repeating Pam's name again and again. But Kelly never unties him. Slowly, the car sinks deeper into the water. Because of his military training, Kelly can hold his breath for a very long time, but Clay cannot, and eventually he drowns inside the sinking vehicle. Sometime later, Kelly's people arrive at the scene and pull him out of the water using an oxygen mask. Before killing Clay, Kelly had secretly recorded his entire confession. Later, Kelly gives that recording to Ritter, who forwards it to the higher authorities. A few days later, a state funeral is organized for everyone who died during the operation. And the most ironic part is, Kelly himself attends the funeral, meaning he is standing there watching his own death ceremony. After the funeral, Greer drops Kelly off at the airport. There, he hands Kelly a new passport and a completely new ID card. From now on, Kelly's new name is John Clark. Leaving his old life behind forever, Kelly begins a completely new life with a new identity. The story then moves forward by a few months. Ritter has now been promoted and becomes the deputy director of the CIA. Kelly meets him and congratulates him on the promotion. Then, Kelly presents him with a brand new idea. He proposes creating a multinational counter-terrorism unit called Rainbow, and the leader of that elite team would be none other than John Clark himself. Ritter promises to seriously consider the proposal. And with that, the movie comes to an end. So friends, if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel Know the Story Global for more amazing movie explanations like this. Your one subscription motivates me to bring you many more incredible stories. We'll meet again in the next video with another unforgettable story. Until then, take care of yourselves. Thank you.